Welcome to Real Reviews. I'm Chase Lee. I'm here to review Interstellar. This is the most anticipated movie on most people's list. You know, it's Christopher Nolan's next big thing after The Dark Knight Rises, so it's like there's some interest in there. So, does it live up to the hype, and is it Christopher Nolan's masterpiece? Yes and no. Let me break this down. But first, I want to say I apologize for not being in my normal movie room setting. But, Christopher Nolan kept this movie under wraps and in secret, so I'm going to keep the location of where I'm filming this review in secret. It's supposed to be clever, but I mean, you know how it goes on this channel, guys. All right, so the directing. First, I want to say Christopher Nolan. This is ambitious as hell, but you can lose some people in the whole, wormhole and black hole and all this other jargon that you have in this film. Now, I understood everything, but the last third, the last third of the movie, the third act, it just felt like a completely different movie, and it lost me. I was like, I don't know if I'm really buying this. So, I mean, for the first two thirds, my imagination was running wild. My sense of wonder was there because I felt like I was on this journey with Matthew McConaughey, and I want to give Christopher Nolan props on that. I felt like I was on this journey. I had this sense of imagination and wonder to this whole universe and what this movie was about and things that were going on Earth when Matthew McConaughey was in space. Like, that's what going to the movies is all about, and I love Christopher Nolan for that. But when you start explaining stuff and stuff gets into some weird territory, because I'm not going to spoil anything, but it gets into some interesting territory. But it felt like Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan, his brother, and because they both wrote this, and it felt like it was something like an inside joke they knew or something, or like they were trying to let us know about it, but we just really couldn't get into it. But like I said, first two thirds were excellent. I was intrigued. I was on this ride, but then it started losing me towards the third half, and that's probably where my complaints will be in terms of the story and the writing when it comes to that. The acting, McConaughey, Hathaway, Michael Caine, John Lithgow's in this, Topher Grace, Casey Affleck, Jessica Chastain, they're all good. I have no complaints on the acting. Even the little girl that played Matthew McConaughey's daughter at the beginning of the movie, she was fantastic as well. So, no one was a weak link in terms of acting. Everyone brought their A game. McConaughey is still doing awesome. Hey, even before his rom-coms, he was good. He just had that slew of rom-coms, and then he came back, and people were just like, oh, he's good. So, he's always been good, folks. Just, let's get that in mind. But, the acting's strong all around. McConaughey carries this film. He's very good at carrying movies. He's got that presence. He's got that, that lead actor, like I said, presence that you can just feel when he's on screen, and that's what you need in a lead actor, and McConaughey kills it. Cinematography. Wow, is this an impressive looking movie? It's probably one of the most beautifully visual movies I've ever seen in my life. I'm only 24, so I mean, I still got a long way to go. But as of right now, it's one of the most visually impressive. It's so gorgeous, and it's so, it's shot on a wide scope of things. So you feel a sense of, a lot of territory that these people are covering when they're on these planets and stuff, because that's what they do. They leave Earth and they try to look for a planet that can sustain human life. And when they get to each planet, the scope is large. It makes it look like humans are really tiny and we're just this small speck in this universe. And it's shot in such a grand scale. I felt like I was there because I saw it in 70mm IMAX, which would, if you can find that around you, go see it in 70mm IMAX, because when it was shot in the 70mm shots, it was beautiful to see it fill up the whole screen from top to bottom. So it's just gorgeous to watch. The colors are rich. The settings and the locations are rich. It's just shot so beautifully and so imaginative. That's one thing Christopher Nolan has for him, is that he is a very imaginative director, and he's a very visual director. Regardless if you think, his screenplays or stories are good, which is why I said earlier that that's the one problem I had, is the last third, I was just lost, even though I paid attention to everything. So visually, it's breathtaking. Visually breathtaking. The editing. This movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes long. I will say, I was not bored personally, but I can see some people getting bored, or not bored, but like, it's gonna weigh down on them. And I felt like towards the middle of the movie, the cadence of the movie kind of like it hit like a stall for me. Like it was just kind of this nice little lull, and I was just like, come on, let's speed it up, and then it speeds up again. So I think towards the middle it has like a little down point, but I mean overall I think it has a nice rhythm to it, to where that 2 hours and 45 minutes does fly by if you get interested and engaged in this. And it's one of those movies you got to pay attention to, because like I said, they're talking about theory of relativity, they're talking about quantum physics. Like if you're not into that stuff, this is like you're getting a lesson as well as being entertained. So like you got to pay attention. And then the score is fantastic. I thought it set like this weird like Voyager tone to it. Like it was something. It felt fresh. It felt new. Like it's something I never really heard before. But it felt like I was going on the adventure with McConaughey. Like I said, it's a very like immersive movie. Especially if you see it in 70mm IMAX, you will be submersed in this visual treasure that had some slight story problems, brilliant acting, and it kind of lulls a little bit, but it picks back up. But that's my overall thoughts on Interstellar. It's one of those movies that it will always stay with me as a theater experience, but I don't know if I can put it in my top 10 of the year, just being honest. So I'm going to give this a strong 8 out of 10. It's a very visually impressive movie, like I said. The acting is strong. The story overall for like the first 2/3 is fantastic, but it kind of lost me on the last third of it. Didn't really care for the ending that much. Shot beautifully, like I said. I know I keep harping on the cinematography, but guys, if you're a film fan, if you're a filmmaker, if you love films, it's just gonna blow your mind on how well it's shot. It's one of the better space movies, trust me. So 8 out of 10 for Interstellar. Have you seen Interstellar? Are you going to see it in 70mm IMAX? Comment that place right below my face and let me know. And as always, thanks for watching more reviews. I'm Chase Lee, and tune next time for whatever I review next. See you guys later. And I promise that I won't be in this secretive location anymore, and I will be back in my normal place. I promise. So, all right, I'll see you guys later.